Moving along with the program, I'd now like to introduce David Richards. He is the Managing Director of Liontown Resources. Welcome, David.
Thank you, Amy, and good morning, everybody. Today I'm going to focus on our Kathleen Valley Lithium project, where recent studies have highlighted the potential for a highly profitable long-life mining and processing operation. I'll also touch briefly on our Mora project, where our early exploration results have been very good. The standard disclaimer, which I obviously won't dwell on, but this presentation is available on our website, and if anyone does want to read this page in more detail, then I suggest you do it there. Liontown has 3 active projects in Western Australia. At Kathleen Valley, we have a project with world-class scale and economics. It's a very large resource which will support a 40-year mine life. In contrast to our peers, will be a high-grade mining operation which will help us keep the costs down. And there are multiple upside opportunities there to improve the financial metrics, which we'll do as part of a definitive feasibility study which was started and which we're looking to have completed by this time next year. Mora, it's in one of the most exciting emerging mineral provinces to come along for a long time. Our earlier exploration results have been outstanding, and we're looking forward to getting on the ground there and commencing drilling hopefully next month after the crops have come off. We have a second lithium project at Baldania in southern Western Australia. We've defined a resource down there of 15 million tonnes at 1%. We've recently applied for a mining lease over this resource, so it's moving on. I won't say anything else about Baldania, but we do continue to advance the project, albeit in the background. All of our projects are wholly owned. They're close to established modern infrastructure. We're in a very, probably one of the best mining jurisdictions in the world. Very well credentialed and highly skilled management team and board to ensure that we can take the projects forward. And following a recent capital raising, we're well funded. So Kathleen Valley, by any number of measures, it's a tier 1 lithium resource. By size, it's top 5 in Australia and top 10 in the world. Another measure of its global significance is that together with our Baldania lithium resource, and because we own both of our projects 100%, Liontown has the 4th largest spodumene-related hard rock lithium resource base in the world, which I think is quite an achievement. In early October this year, we released an updated PFS, which followed a previous PFS that we published in December 2019. The latest PFS established a mining reserve of 71 million tonnes. So based on a mining rate of 2 million tonnes per annum, we're looking to produce on average 350,000 tonnes of spodumene concentrate a year and 430 tonnes of tantalum concentrate a year. Life of mine is envisaged at that rate. The life of mine is envisaged to be about 40 years. And over this period of time, we're expecting to produce a total free cash flow of $4.8 billion. The NPV based on the PFS is a respectable $1.12 billion and an internal rate of return of 37%. One of the main outcomes of the latest PFS is that we've managed to get the OPEX per tonne of spodumene concentrate in the first 10 years down to $345 a tonne, which is a $140 improvement on the previous PFS. And we've been able to do this by reconfiguring and redesigning mining such that we access higher grade material earlier in the mine life. So previously, the average grade for the first 10 years in the previous PFS was between 1 and 1.1% lithium oxide. The average grade now for the first 10 to 20 years will be 1.5 to 1.6% lithium oxide, and this has a massive impact on OPEX. We've based our study on a spodumene price of $739 a tonne, and this has been obtained from independent commodity experts Roskill. The capex of 325 million tonnes includes a fair portion for mine pre-production and also for contingencies. The latest PFS is based on a resource that we published in May 2020. The resource is of 156 million tonnes at 1.4% lithium and 130 parts per million tantalum. This latest resource is more than double the size of the resource and what the previous PFS was based on. So you can see why we had to do an updated PFS. You can see that most of the resource is measured and indicated, which really is a measure of the quality of the deposit. The resource at this stage has translated into a reserve of 71 million tonnes at the same grades. You can see from this slide that Kathleen Valley will be predominantly an underground mining operation. So the plan is to start underground development and open pit mining at the same time. Open pit mining will go for about 3 years, at which point we'll turn that off and it will become entirely an underground mining operation. Open pit mining is then scheduled to recommence after year 25. We get asked a lot of questions about mining underground for lithium. There are no issues. The ground conditions are very good and we're using conventional mining techniques. Lithium, after all, is just another commodity. As part of the DFS we're working on now, we're looking at a number of opportunities to improve the financial metrics. Some of this is very straightforward, simple things like converting and expanding the current resource with additional drilling. We're also looking to increase the throughput as part of the DFS. The current PFS is based on a throughput of 2 million tonnes per annum. The DFS will consider a 4 million tonne per annum option as well to see whether that makes sense. A couple of other opportunities which I plan to expand on with additional slides is that we believe we have the potential to produce a premium concentrate that should attract a premium price. And we've also completed a scoping study into the potential of downstream processing at Kathleen Valley. And as you'll see from the slides I show, the economics for doing downstream processing on site are compelling. So why do we think we can produce a premium concentrate? Well, in contrast to most of our peers, we've decided to use whole of ore flotation to produce a spodumene concentrate, compared with the other of our peers who use a combined DMS flotation route. The reason we're using whole of ore flotation is that one, it's simpler, or we believe it's simpler. Two, test work has shown that we can consistently produce higher grade concentrates with improved recovery. So if you look at the chart in the bottom left-hand corner of this slide, at a feed grade of 1%, you'll see that DMS flotation, combined DMS flotation, struggles to reach 6% con, whereas whole of ore flotation easily makes a 6% concentrate. And we see the same relationship for all grade ranges, so and improves with increasing grade. So at 1.7% feed grade, we can produce a concentrate using whole of ore flotation well in excess of 7%. The other advantage of using whole ore float is that we can expose the entire or treat the entire ore stream for tantalum recovery. In a DMS flotation circuit, you can't recover tantalum from the DMS part of that circuit. We recover the tantalum via a combination of magnetic and gravity separation ahead of flotation. The added advantage of using magnetic separation ahead of flotation is it not only recovers the tantalum, it also removes a lot of the iron that's introduced either through the gabbroic host rock or the milling circuit. So the flotation product ends up a lot cleaner. So based on this, we believe whole of ore flow gives us the potential not only to produce a higher grade concentrate at good recoveries, but also a concentrate with lower deleterious elements, which will hopefully attract a premium price. As I mentioned, we've done a scoping study on the downstream potential of the project. We've considered making both lithium sulfate or lithium hydroxide on site based on the same mining rate. I'll just talk to lithium hydroxide, which is the RHM column on this slide, given the time constraints. But if we do downstream processing, producing lithium hydroxide, then the NPV increases to $4.8 billion. The internal rate of return increases to 41%. And the life of mine free cash flow increases to a staggering $19.5 billion. And all of this is done with the same payback period of 3 years, just because the margins between the operating costs and what you get paid for producing a tonne of concentrate are much higher. The capex of $1.1 billion is a lot. It includes a $325 million to build the spodumene plant as well. So it's an extra $800 million to build the hydroxide plant. Now, we're not kidding ourselves that this is something we can do on our own, but why we've done this study is for two reasons. One, to show us the real potential of the project, and two, to show potential partners the potential of the project. And we'll be partners with not only the financial resources, but with the technical expertise to build a hydroxide plant. So that was the reason we've done it, and we look forward to engaging those potential partners. This slide just shows the margins pictorially, and you can see there producing lithium hydroxide produces 4 times the cash flow of just producing a spodumene concentrate at Kathleen Valley. Another reason it makes sense to consider downstream processing at Kathleen Valley is because of where it's located and the available logistics. So we're right next to a sealed highway, less than 500 metres from a sealed highway, which goes all the way to mineral exporting ports. There's sealed airstrips in the area. We don't have to build airstrips. There's a power line. Importantly, there's a natural gas pipeline just to the east. This is important because when you go downstream processing, you need lots of gas. There's also available acid in the eastern goldfields. BHP produce a lot of acid in the Kalgoorlie region, so the reagents are available as well. The other thing we have going for us at Kathleen Valley from a location point of view is that we have plenty of space to store our tailings. It's my understanding that the hydroxide plants at Kemerton and Kwinana in southwest Western Australia, after they produce the hydroxide, they then have to cart away their tailings. We won't have to do that. We'll be able to store our tailings on site. We're all aware of the current situation for lithium, I think. We're not kidding ourselves about the current price. But the natural evolution of things at Kathleen Valley is that it's on track to be aligned with the forecast rise in demand. And I think the consensus is that everyone agrees the consensus is the long-term fundamentals remain very strong for lithium. And this all relates really to government mandates in Europe and Asia, and now hopefully the US. The governments are keen to get emissions down. To do this, they want to incentivise electric vehicles. Electric vehicles need batteries. All batteries that go into EVs need lithium. So for this reason, we're confident that when we get into production at Kathleen Valley, the demand and the price will be there. So going forward, we've just completed the PFS at Kathleen Valley and our scoping study on the downstream processing. We're currently working on a definitive feasibility study that should be completed by this time next year. We'll then follow the normal course of events at Kathleen Valley with the intention of being in production by the first half of 2025. This is a conservative time frame. If the situation changes and improves quicker than we think it's going to, then we have the capacity to compress this time frame and to get into production earlier. So Kathleen Valley provides Liontown and its shareholders with a very strong underlying fundamental value. Our Mora project, on the other hand, provides us with a lot of sex appeal. So Mora, it's in the same geological terrain as Chalice's Julimar discovery. Julimar is located about 90 kilometres to the south of the Mora project. We acquired our land position back in 2018, 2019 as part of a normal generative exploration strategy that most companies do. One of the reasons we picked the ground up is that back in 1968, Poseidon discovered some very anomalous nickel values in the central part of the project area before they went off and started the nickel boom. Saying that, most of our ground has never been explored. Again, we own 100% of it. It's located 150 kilometres from Perth, or about an hour and a half's drive from where I'm sitting at the moment. We've defined a number of target areas at Mora. The most advanced is the Mount Yule Felton corridor. Here we have a 15-kilometre long, 2.5-kilometre wide trend with multiple coincident geochemical and geophysical anomalies. One of our main exploration techniques we've used to date has been shallow auger geochemistry. That's basically collecting a sample 20 to 80 centimetres below the surface on spacings ranging up to 400 by 400 metres. And you can see the numbers are very good that we've got out of this. Almost all grade gold numbers at surface up to 0.92 grams per tonne gold. And this is coincident with very anomalous PGEs, nickel and copper. And it's not a one-off anomaly. There are multiple high-order geochemical anomalies. And a recent EM survey that we flew in August has defined a number of late-time responses, which indicate that there is possible sulfide-related material beneath these geochemical anomalies. So this sort of geochemical suite is similar to what we see or what Chalice sees down at Julimar, albeit we seem to have a much stronger gold emphasis here at Mora. Just zooming in on this trend, the Mount Yule prospect, this is at the northern end of that trend. Here we have an anomaly that's 3.6 kilometres east-west, it's 2.2 kilometres north-south, so it's a massive anomaly. There's multiple high-order gold values associated with very anomalous nickel, PGE and copper values. It's coincident with a very strong magnetic anomaly, which is that hot red colour underneath, and also a gravity anomaly, which suggests that this geochemical anomaly is underlain by a mafic, ultramafic intrusive body, which is the same similar geological unit that hosts the Julimar discovery to the south. There hasn't been a drill hole in Kui of this place, and we're looking forward to getting on the ground and doing the maiden drilling program hopefully starting next month after the crops come off. So Mora, we want to get out there as soon as possible, do some ground EM just to tighten up the airborne targets that were defined in August. Then get stuck into drilling. So we're hoping to be air core drilling there in December, followed by some RC drilling. The other thing we want to do is extend our first pass coverage at Mora. To date, only 30% of the project area has been assessed, and then there are a number of other very interesting targets that we're keen to get out and take some samples across. So why Liontown? Well, at Kathleen Valley, we have a world-class resource which will support a very long mine life. The deposit is high grade, which means that we will be able to keep our mining costs, our operating costs low. We're in one of the best mining jurisdictions in the world, and the infrastructure is fantastic. As part of the DFS we're now working on, there are multiple opportunities to improve the financial metrics, and we look forward to reporting those. At Mora, we're in, as I said before, one of the most exciting emerging mineral provinces that's come along anywhere in the world for a long time. Our early results have been exceptional, and as I said before, we're looking forward to doing the maiden drilling program. Just to conclude, corporately, the board is very strong, a lot of experience, a good mixture of technical, corporate and financial skills on the board. And we've really got a very strong management team, which we've beefed up recently. So we've got all the skills and the capacity to be able to move both Kathleen Valley and Mora forward. We recently completed an oversubscribed capital raising. We raised another $12.5 million, which means we have more than enough cash to complete the DFS and actually get well into 2022. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, David.